There is a saying in the village, he who feeds you can lead you anywhere, even to the slaughterhouse. And that, my friend, is exactly what's happening in our politics today. Every election season, the drum rolls, the rice arrives, and the people rejoice. Not because their lives will change, but because their hunger will sleep for one night. They trade tomorrow's voice for today's meal. They sell destiny for a bowl of rice. And while their stomachs are full for a moment, their future stays empty for years. The politics of the stomach is not just a strategy, it is a silent weapon that has turned citizens into slaves of crumbs. And unless we open our eyes, this same stomach will bury our dreams. Welcome, my people. Today we are diving into a powerful story from the book From Rice to Rights, written by the brilliant Amechi Ogalagu. This story is called The Politics of Stomach. It is not just about food, it is about how hunger has become a political currency, how poverty has become a tool of control, and how the youth, the supposed leaders of tomorrow, are being shamed by what they eat today. But before the end of this session, I promise you this. You will understand how this system works, how it manipulates you, and most importantly, how to break free from it. Because the truth is simple. You cannot build a great future on a hungry foundation. Before I share what really happened in that story, let me take you into the mind of average voter on election day. Imagine the tension, the sound of drums, the shouting of party agents, the crowd pushing for rice and wrappers, the noise, the confusion. It feels like a festival, but it's actually a funeral, the funeral of your right. And yet, in that moment, something deeper happens. Hunger meets helplessness. When the belly speaks, even wisdom keeps quiet. That is the battlefield where this story unfolds, where the soul of a nation is exchanged for a meal. But every parable has a purpose, and every truth, no matter how painful, has a lesson. Now, let's dive deep into the story. How rice and wrappers became political tools. The story of vote buying and the survival politics. How poverty is weaponized to silence young voices. It is often said that a hungry man is an angry man. But in the Nigerian political space, a hungry man is more than just angry. He becomes vulnerable, pliable, and easily swayed. In the game of power, those who control the food often control the vote, and those who control the vote control the destiny of millions. This is the sad rhythm of the politics of the stomach, a dance that has held Nigerians' youth by the neck for decades. The story of Nigerian political manipulation cannot be told without mentioning the humble grain of rice. What should be simple food on the plate of every Nigerian became a golden bait in the hands of political actors. When election draw near, the rice bags arrive like visitors in a village market, big, loud, and enticing. It is in this moment that the future of many is exchanged for a plate of food. On the eve of a local election in Umueze, a rural community in southeastern Nigeria, a young man named Chidi watched as politicians' trucks rolled into the village square like hunters returning from the forest with the fresh game. The trucks were filled with bags of rice, cartons of noodles, vegetable oil, and colorful wrappers. Loudspeakers boomed political jingles and party talks. Dance like masquerade celebrating a new harvest. Women gathered in excitement, youth clustered around the trucks, stretching their hands as party agents shared rice with a fanfare. Now who go vote for honorable? Get rice, so shouted one of the agents, a chubby man with a red cap and a beret that spoke of endless shop. Laughter and chant filled the air. Chidi, make we collect our own before them finish am, whispered Obi, his friend and fellow bricklayer. Hunger was gnawing at their empty stomachs. Obi's younger siblings had not even eaten since morning. For them, the rice was not just political bait, it was survival. Chidi hesitated. He remembered the last election when the same honorable promised jobs for youth, clean water and better road. None of those promises saw daylight. Only the rice did. He felt like a man standing at a crossroad between hunger and dignity. Obi, he said slowly, every 4 years they give us rice, but then they shop meat every day. We still dey suffer. Obi shrugged. My brother, rice wey dey hand better pass promise wey no go come. And just like that, another vote was bought, not with the ideas, not with development plans, but with a grain of rice. The tactic is old, but its efficiency remains deadly. Politicians understand something profound. When poverty bites hard, principles became fragile. A man who has not eaten for 2 days may sell his vote just to get 1 cup of rice to feed his children. They know that if they keep the people hungry, they will keep them dependent. And dependency is the rope that binds the goat to the post. He who feeds you controls you, goes the wise saying. In Nigeria, poverty has been turned into a political strategy. Instead of empowering the people, the system weakens them. Instead of educating the youth, they distract them. Instead of investing in jobs, they invest in palliatives. A people who depend on crops will never question the feast going on in the politician's table. In Ekate, Akwa Ibom State, Mama Eno, a widow of 4 children, stood in line to collect her share of rice from the ruling party's distribution center. Her face carried the map of hard labor. The rice was only 5 cups per person, but to her, it was hope for 2 days survival. As she clutched the nylon bag tightly, she whispered, God bless them politicians. But in truth, she was blessing her own shame. What she didn't know was that her blessing was the politician's insurance. For every bag of rice given, a voice was silenced. For every wrapper distributed, a question about accountability died. For every 5,000 shared, a future was mortgaged. In the cities, the story may be more refined, but it is the same. Vote buying wears different clothes in different places. In rural areas, it is rice and wrapper. In urban centers, it may be fuel coupons, data bundles, cash envelopes, or empowerment programs. But at its core, it is the same beast, an exchange of short-term relief for long-term suffering. During the last gubernatorial election in Ogun State, a group of young men, jobless and frustrated, lined up at a hidden corner of a party's agent house. They called it the ATM spot. For every voter's card shown, they received 10,000 naira. As they collected the cash, they laughed. Now our time to shop, one shouted, but in truth, it was not their time to shop. It was their future being shopped. This is what survival politics does. It turns the oppressed into willing participants of their own oppression. It creates a cycle where hunger becomes both a tool and a weapon. And then the youth, who should be the arrowhead of change, becomes pawns in a political chess game. When the youth are trapped in the politics of the stomach, they lose their power to speak truth to power. A hungry youth is less likely to question why the schools are dilapidated. A jobless youth who receives a few cups of rice is less likely to ask why the roads are death traps. A frustrated young graduate who receives 5,000 on election day may forget to demand good governance. Chidi, now seated on a broken bench that night, looked at the bag of rice his mother had poured into a pot. His siblings were smiling, but in his heart, a storm was brewing. He whispered to himself, we can't continue like this. Rice, no be future. That whisper became a spark, a tiny light in the darkness. Because history has shown that every great change begins not with shout, but with a whisper. In many Nigerian villages, there is a popular problem. When a goat eats from your hand every day, it will follow you even to the slaughterhouse. The people, especially the youth, have been made into that goat. The rice is the hand, and election day is the slaughterhouse. The price is their voice, their future, their rights. Until the youth learn to reject the rights and demand their right, the chain will remain unbroken. But the winds of change are beginning to blow. Some youth are waking up to the reality that their future is worth more than a bag of rice. They are beginning to say enough is enough. Organizations, student unions, youth movement, and online campaigns are rising like the morning sun, slowly but steadily. Chidi's small whisper would later become a conversation in his community. A conversation would become a meeting would become a movement, and a movement would become a revolution, not of blood, but of minds. Because when the youth stop selling their vote, they start owning their voices, and when they own their voices, they can demand their rights. Now, what are the lessons learned from this story? The story of the politics of stomach teaches us one thing clearly. A people who depends on crumbs can never question the feast. Our leaders have learned the old trick in the book. Keep them hungry and they will follow you. When you give a man rice instead of right, you buy his silence. When you give a woman wrapper instead of water, you buy her vote. When you give a youth 5,000 naira instead of a job, you buy his future. This story shows us that poverty is no longer just an economic problem. It has become a political weapon. A weapon that turns strong men into beggars. A weapon that turns intelligent youth into willing victims. A weapon that makes you bless your own chains while causing your freedom. But here is the painful truth. Nobody can enslave a people who refuse to be bought. Now, how do we rise above the politics of the stomach? How do we transform hunger into honor and the pity into power? Here are the steps we must take together. 1. Educate your mind, not just your mouth. The first revolution is not on the street, it is in your mind. When you know you are right, you cannot be fooled by rice. Number 2, refuse shortcuts. Every bag of rice has an invisible price tag. It is your voice. Don't sell it for comfort, invest it for change. Join the conversation. Number 3, talk about it in your communities, in your schools, in your churches, in your mosque. Awareness is contagious. Let your whisper become a movement. Then number 4, support honest leadership. Don't just vote, verify, follow their record, not their rise. When the right leaders rise, the rise will flow naturally, not as bribe but as policy. Number 5, empower one another. Start small initiatives that create job, awareness, and the self-reliance. When the youth feeds themselves, no politicians can feed them lies. Because as the old proverb says, the hand that holds the spoon controls the one that opens the mouth. It is time to take back the spoon. So, if this story has stirred something in your spirit, don't let the fire die here. Get your own copy of From Rise to Right by Amechi Ogalago. This book is not just a story. It is a mirror for every Nigerian youth, every voter, every dreamer who refused to be bought for a plate of rice. Read it, share it, discuss it. Let this story reach every corner of our nation, from the noisy market of Onitsha to the quiet street of Ekiti. Because when knowledge spirit manipulation dies. Before I go, let me leave you with this. A wise man once said, if you keep feeding the people crumbs, they will never demand bread. But I said to you, it is time to demand the bakery. The rice will finish, the wrapper will fade, but your voice, your vote, you are right. That's your power. So next time they come with rice, smile and say, keep your food, I will keep my future. Because the day the youth stop selling their vote is the day Nigeria will start buying our freedom. From Rise to Rights, not just a book, but a movement written by Amechi Ogalago. Read it, live it, share it, and together, let's break the chain of the politics of the stomach. Thank you for watching this video, and I believe you have learned a lot from this video. Please, if you have learned a lot, don't hesitate to share this video. Make it to go viral. Thank you for watching, and please, God bless you.